What's up, my name is Devin. I also go by Infinite or Prod by Infinite, and today I'm gonna give y'all the top 5 strategies that helped me elevate my Gfunk beats to the next level. You feel me? So today we're gonna be breaking down a Gfunk beat that I recently posted that people really liked. Like, people were saying this was the best beat I've ever made, and they might not be wrong. That's the crazy thing. They might be right. So without further ado, I'm gonna play the beat, and then we're gonna get into these strategies and break down. Now let's start things off with the first strategy and also the chords I use to make this beat. So I'm using SRX electric piano, and we're using the ST Trem EP1 preset. The only thing I did was just turn the volume up, and then I routed it to a send channel. Look, there's no effects on here. Boom. And the effect channel just has the low end cut out and the highs boosted a little bit, and then also a compressor. But all of the melodies is going to this, so that effect is on all melodies. So I'm gonna play the chords first, and then I'm gonna tell y'all the strategy to help elevate my chords for Gfunk beats. Now for strategy number 1 is to strum and also break out your chords. So originally the chord looked just like this. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. It sounds good. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to make your melodies a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unique, a little bit more you know what I mean? Because you're special. Yeah, I love, no, but like for real though, like if you want to just make things a little bit different, a little bit more interesting, try breaking out your chords. Make it interesting, break it out even more. That sounds great too. And what you could do too is like you could break out different notes. It doesn't have to be, you know what I mean, those ones specifically. That sounds really interesting actually. That's kind of hard. Or you could just go boom, boom, boom. I mean, it sounds cool. And also, pro tip, I've said this a million times, but I will keep on saying it till the day that I die. Mess with the velocities on your chords, synth leads, and synth basses, because it will greatly affect how they sound. I've said it before, I'm gonna keep on saying it just because it's so important, and it's something that took me so long to realize, because I was making melodies and I would just have them all up right here. And I'd just be sitting there, I'm like, why does it sound so bad? So yeah, always try to mess around with like how high or low the velocities are as well. Now, the next thing that I want to move on to is the Evolution Dracus guitar. This is what I used to get like this little guitar strum thing. And I just think it was like really cool. I'll play it first and then we can talk about it. All right, now when you hear that, kind of sounds terrible. It kind of sounds bad, but in context with everything else, it's hard. It's hard. Trust me. Like if we go to this part right here, that's hard. You feel me? But like by itself, it doesn't really sound that great. No real strategy to it, no effects on it either. I was just like, oh, this is hard. And then for the second half of the part, I pitched it down. Now, strategy number 2 is proper sound selection. And I know when I say that, y'all probably sitting there like, what do you mean sound selection? Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm gonna give y'all some sauce, you feel me? So someone I started watching recently is a guy named Able Beats. I've been binge watching a bunch of his videos and they're extremely helpful. And he just has like a lot of sauce for like these more old school type beats. And he did a video on some of his favorite VSTs, and one of them was Oddity. This one right here. Never mind the name. Dave's Tasty Lead puts the wrong taste in my mouth. I don't want anything in my mouth, actually. Now, I've only used this VST a couple times, and I will say it's hard, but I cannot give it like the infinite stamp of approval yet. But I will say I've used it a couple times, and you know what I mean? If we look at all the VSTs on here, Oddity, it's pretty fire, but I haven't used it enough to really give it that stamp yet, you feel me? Now, in addition to Oddity, I would also recommend you get something like a good Rhodes or a good E-piano. Anything that just sounds good. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. So we can just go over a couple of them real quick. If you have the Arturia bundle, the Stage 73 is a great option. And also you can go to expand, which is something that you can find as low as like $10 to $15 when it's on sale, and get some of these, bro. Like the Mark II is a great option. Now, when it comes to sound selection, melodically, those are some things that I recommend. But another thing that I would recommend as well is a solid drum kit. My drums are more geared towards like the newer style of West Coast beat. I do have a couple sounds in there for like older school G-Funk beats and stuff like that you can use. Like for instance, if we go here, that could be used. That could be used. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple things in there. You feel me? That would be great too. That would be great too. All those would be great. If you really want to get that sound, I would highly recommend this drum kit you can get for free, actually. Lunch 77, the Cardiac drum kit. This one is great. There's a lot of great sounds in here. One of my most used hi-hats. This one's great. It's free. You can just Google it and it'll be there. All right, we're 2 strategies down. Let's start breaking down some more of the sounds that I have in this beat. Since we already have this lead up right here, let's go over it. Now this one is that fucking tasty lead. I don't even like saying it. This just has a bunch of delay on it, some EQ, and then some reverb. I was really just trying to get something that sounded kind of cool. You feel me? And the same thing goes for this next sound. Once again, oddity, the Beauty Bells. This was just kind of like a little vibe. You know what I mean? No effects on it either. And then I got another lead. Something I've noticed in like G-Funk beats and like Larry June beats is that they will use multiple leads in their beat. It'll be like chords, 2 different basses, 7 leads, and then drums. You feel me? It'll be something like that. But yeah, Spank a lead. I don't know what's up with these names, bro. I ain't gonna lie. You know what? I don't think there's any effects on this one either. Yeah, no, there's no effects on it. The last lead that I used, yes, I used 3 different leads, is the leading chick. Now, the reason why I made this lead is because the other couple leads that y'all just heard, they were more just kind of like blips in the beat. I wanted something that was a little bit more constant throughout the beat. Because like, if we listen to the beat and we take this out right here, it's just like little things are just going off in like small amounts. You feel me? But I just wanted something that was kind of like consistently going throughout the beat. And then that's how I landed on this lead right here. And then now, strategy number 3 is changing my mindset when it comes to how I make bass lines. Now, let's play this bass line real quick and then we can talk about it. So first off, this is the 101 SH bass synth. The thing that really helped me elevate my G-Funk beats was changing my mindset on how I make my bass lines. Now, what I mean by that is I kind of would always look at bass lines as like an 808. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that when you're making a lot of West Coast beats, but it doesn't necessarily work for G-Funk as much. Like, let's listen to it real quick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily bad, but it's just so much better when you start looking at your bass lines as another melodic element. I promise you, when you start looking at your bass lines as like a really low synth lead, it really changes the groove of your beats entirely. Because that little 3 hit was cool, but this is just way groovier. You know what I mean? And when you look at it, it's really still kind of like a 3 hit. It's just like spaced out a little bit more. And there's like little notes like this that make it kind of groovier and make it feel like you're playing it by hand. The more things you can do to make it groovier, the better it'll end up coming out, in my opinion. Also, pro tip before we get to the next strategy is sometimes you can layer your synth basses with a sub bass. So this right here is just the 3X oscillator that's within FL Studio. Now, what I do to make the sub bass on the 3X oscillator just perfect every single time for me is I'll turn down the volume for the second oscillator, turn down the volume for the third one, and then I'll just take the pitch it all the way down to 24, negative 24, and then I'll usually just copy and paste my synth bass pattern over. But the thing is that when you do it like this, there's technically no glide. So what you would have to do is go over to the wrench right here and turn on mono or both. Just turn on both of them, make sure that slide knob is up, you feel me? And then when you do it, it'll slide up. And then one last thing that I will say is that if you are going to be layering your basses, like with a sub bass right here and then with a regular synth bass right here, sometimes, not all the time, you gotta play it by ear, you'll have to cut out some of the low end that's in the synth bass because it'll either be too much bass in your track or it'll end up sounding bad. So sometimes just cutting out a little bit of them low end frequencies will help out a lot. And this sub bass right here is really just to make sure that it has like a clean low end. So when you're listening to it in the car, it's just thumping, you feel me? Now for the most part, we have went over everything that is melodic in this beat. Now let's go over some of the drums, and I'm telling you right now, it's a little bit easier than you think. So I have 2 claps in this beat. We're gonna listen to each one individually and then we'll listen to them together. Now, if you were paying attention, you would notice that there's something kind of wrong or something kind of weird, something kind of off, something kind of odd about this clap. And that would be that it's off the grid. And that actually leads into our 4th strategy. And that's changing the groove of your drum and specifically making sure to make the clap or the snare that you're using go a little bit ahead of where you would normally put it. Now, in addition to that, I'm also doing that with the hi-hats, but on the other side. So as you can see, this is where the line starts, that's where the grid is, and this is just completely off. You know what I mean? Like it's just mad off, you feel me? Now, a specific thing that I've been doing that I think really enhances that off the grid type of swing is I won't just like make a 2-step and then just move everything over. What I'll do is I'll take these and I'll move them over different amounts. So I'll move this one over like that much, and then I'll move this one over even more. And what I've noticed is that the second hat that you do, the more that one's off the grid, the crazier the swing is. Also, messing with the velocity helps with the groove a lot. The thing is that with these Gfunk beats, you're doing a lot of small changes that might feel insignificant in the moment, but when you make 20 small changes, it completely changes the whole vibe and the feel of the beat. That was a bar. That was a fucking bar. And then next I got this cymbal sound and I just had it playing throughout the pattern. And I'm just making sure the velocities are different on every single one, so it kind of gives a little bit more humanistic, real feel. And also, as you can see, off the grid as well. But with that being said, not everything has to be on the grid. You feel me? I have my kicks on the grid. Do whatever feels right. This one is from the Able Beats kit. Shout out Able Beats. Also, I boosted it a lot. And then I just got like a couple percussion sounds in here. You know what I mean? Just a cowbell from the Infinite kit, you feel me? A little tambourine roll. Reverb clap. All these are available in the Infinite Essentials Drum Kit 2024. Also a little DJ scratch. Just feels right in these beats. Now, if you've been really observant throughout this whole video, you'll notice that we haven't talked about Oddity 5 and Oddity 2. Now, the reason for that is because it contains strategy number 5, brother. And that's to find weird sounds and ear candy to layer into your beats. The first one is an oddity, which is this sound right here. It's called Simon's Open Hat. You know what I mean? And then the second one is an oddity as well. Business Case Scenario. Crazy. I've never added something like that in a beat I've ever made before. It's insane. If you're looking for sounds like this, you can find them in drum kits in like the FX section or percussion section or just like the miscellaneous folders. But if you want to check out some VSTs, go to where it says hits. Other VSTs like Xenology, it will say FX. And textures too could be pretty fire. And just look for weird little things that you could throw in there that other people might not necessarily throw in there. Because I'm telling you right now, if we mute these, it kind of makes the beat more boring. You know, it sounds great, but when we add it back in, it just adds so much character to the beat. But that's it for the most part, bro. Other than that, master channel, I boosted some of the highs, a little bit of the high mids. I boosted up some of the lows. I went to the Fruity Soft Clipper and I turned the post knob up a little bit. That's it. That's how I made this beat. Thank you for listening to me yap about music for, how long have I been recording? Like 30 minutes? Damn, 37. That's crazy. Key, thank you for editing this. My name's Devin. I was going by Infinite, or probably by Infinite, and I'm out. Peace, bro.